Sarah Dowie.
Oh, look, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to rise as the newly elected chairperson of the Justice and Electoral Select Committee. It's interesting to follow after Ms. Curran because Ms. Jackie Dean, who was the the outgoing chair of Justice and Electoral and has now risen to ministerial ranks, explained to me what a bright future, absolutely, Mr. Bishop, had explained to me how collegial the committee was. And there seemed to be a bit of jostling there, so perhaps we'll move this discussion back to the talking about the select committee process and how it was at the end of the day. The findings in the report are unanimous. So, look, as I said, I'm very pleased to be taking this call as the new chair. I acknowledge the sponsoring minister, the Honourable Amy Adams, who has spearheaded this review, and of course the Honourable Jackie Dean, outgoing chair. I want to thank Mr. John O'Naylor, the deputy chair of the Justice and Electoral Select Committee, for making me feel so welcome, and actually the members opposite, because I've only chaired one meeting, let's be fair about it, but from what I have seen, it's been a very collegial committee. So the Honourable Jackie Dean was correct in her description, and I think that all of the members of the committee are willing to discuss things openly and move things along, nuance findings, and hopefully get agreement on most things. So while I didn't sit on this review and be present at the debates, my understanding of these bills is basically that the substance of it is with respect to the opening and closing addresses of electoral broadcasting. And let's face it, time has moved on. We are now in an age where people are using the likes of the internet apps like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I've got to admit I'm Generation X, so I don't understand them all. I'm trying to learn Mr. Paul Foster Bell, but look, we will continue with that education as we go along in my political career. So look, it is about modernising this bill. It's about allowing more flexibility to political parties to get their message out to voters. And as we've seen, as technology has advanced, people are gaining their news in many, many different ways. And especially Generation Now's, Generation X's are turning to such apps like Twitter. And we only need to look overseas to the likes of Brexit and the American election that Twitter was greatly used. So, and that's fair enough. It's about engaging people in democracy, and it's about, again, informing voters through whatever vehicle the political parties see as appropriate and necessary. So to pick up on what some of the other speakers have talked about, we've seen that engagement in our democracy has dropped. So it is important that we use those alternative vehicles to engage our voters. Fewer people were found to be tuning into the opening and closing addresses with TVNZ, apparently a 25% drop in their average audience since the 2014 election. So we need to, sorry.
All programs have dropped. Nobody watches TV anymore.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. I mean, you are helping me prove my point in that technology is advancing and people are turning to different vehicles to get their news, to get their entertainment. So, look, thank you very much for that contribution, and I'll look forward to your contribution on Thursday as well. As we move our agenda forward in justice and electoral. So, look. I think realistically, while these bills make other technical changes to move electioneering forward in respect to this framework, this is a good bill. It was unanimous across, good bills. This was unanimous across the House, and it is about making things fairer, about communicating with the voters and helping them engage in democracy. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I commend these bills to the House.